Hi, my dear Astro family. I've got a great piece of news for you. If you would like to have a reading with me, currently it is 40% off, but I recommend booking your slot very quickly because it's going to fill up. I only have got September left for readings, actually, and onwards. And also, if you would like to study with me, all my courses and webinars are up to 30%, 40% discount at the moment, and the readings are on 30%. So this is a massive promotion. My next promotion is going to be most likely around Christmas. So go ahead, check out my website, and I hope to see you soon, either on a reading or in one of my courses or webinars. Hi, my dearest family. So as I promised, I would be making a second video breaking the Jupiter square Saturn down to all 12 signs. So if you want to know how this energy is playing out, please listen to the first video. I think you will benefit a lot from it because you can add additional information back into your chart as well. Here, I'm going to be focusing on 5, 6 key points, the way how I'm going to break this down for you. So let's summarize on the Jupiter square Saturn. Well, first of all, it is taking place on the 19th of August, 2024, but this is not one hit. We're going to have 3 of them. And 2 of them are happening in the sign of Gemini to Pisces. And the very last one is going to be happening in Cancer to Aries. So let's just focus on the August 19 and the December 24th coloration, because those are happening in the same sign. This is going to be affecting us socially, so on a collective level, as well as on a personal level as well. First of all, square is considered to be a challenging aspect. While we have got Jupiter, who is all about expanding something, it's very optimistic. Saturn is the counterpart of Jupiter, and Saturn is more to do with the restrictions and tries to discipline us. So this has been something that you might have been feeling since late May 2024, because Jupiter entered the sign of Gemini, and then it started forming that sign-based square, but it's not going to be peaking until the 19th of August. So the square is happening to 17 Gemini to 17 Pisces. And then the December one is going to be happening on 14 Gemini to 14 Pisces. So this aspect is going to last till about 2025 June. So this is a year transit. So while Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, this is expanding the Gemini cusp of your chart. So this would indicate, for example, that we are extremely curious, hungry for knowledge. Let's call it as the intellectual curiosity. This is about the exploration of your ideas. You can have loads of ideas, and probably you can be making loads of connections with others as well. And it can make you extremely curious when it comes to learning. So expanding your knowledge is a big theme with Jupiter in Gemini, getting to know things. Now, Saturn is in the sign of Pisces. So Saturn is all about limits and boundaries and structure. So it's trying to give you structure and a little bit of a limitation of how big you dream. It is limiting your spiritual understanding. It is maybe limiting your emotional depth as well at the same time. It is asking you to do a reality check, how much you rely on your hunches, for example, and why don't you learn a little bit more about facts and data as well at the same time. Saturn is the planet of maturity. So we have got this square forming between them two. And the square sometimes is a call to act on something. It sometimes comes with a bit of tension as well. But I am not a big fan of good aspects and negative aspects. It's for me more about how well we use the planetary energy. Sometimes, yes, because we have got two very different planets playing a role in one constellation, we can feel this push and pull energy. So one is trying to expand us while the other one is trying to pull us back down on Earth. So we have got this conflict happening between thinking that anything is possible in life, and then Saturn comes around and then gives us this reality check. So Saturn is telling us, be cautious, be real about certain type of things. And once we are not expanding our own knowledge as fast as we wanted to, then we can experience certain type of frustrations, for example. Then we have got loads of ideas. And then with Jupiter in Gemini, and then Saturn says, let's structure them. You know, we want to be expressing our creative ideas and projects. And then Saturn comes around and tells you, no, you know what? Let's be more practical about it. Maybe this is also telling us to be looking at our priorities, you know. So having set goals, that's great with Saturn. Just let's make a list, you know, how am I going to get there? And because we've got this retrogression square happening in December, so we're going to have to revisit these type of things. We're going to have to do certain type of reflections. And sometimes we're going to have to make adjustments as well at the same time. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, especially on these five key points, what I focused on. So how ambitious, what your goals are, the ideas and the structure. These are the main key factors that I'm going to be focusing on in this mini reading for you. So let's get started. Aries. Rising sign. So this is going to be happening in your 3rd and 12th house. While Jupiter is trying to definitely expand your knowledge and is telling you to study, it is definitely about intellectual curiosity for you. This is all about talking sometimes a little bit too much as well, to explore new ideas. But then Saturn tells you that, you know what, too many good things, too many studies at the same time is not beneficial for you. So it is trying to put a limitation on how much you study, how many ideas you've got. This is also a little bit of, you know, Jupiter makes us extremely enthusiastic, for example, trying to buy something, to sell something, and so forth. And then Saturn says, let's be careful about it. Jupiter in Gemini, something could be coming up, for example, with your siblings as well, or people that you even live together with, or somehow they are part of your everyday life. For example, imagine that you work in a team, for example, which is very possible for Jupiter being in the 3rd house. But to start with, you are an Aries rising sign, so sometimes working alone might be more beneficial for you. And then Saturn in the 12th house might be also telling you that, you know what, let's review whether you are a great team player or not, or you would like to be working on your own or not. Maybe also with this, we're gonna have to recognize how much effort we put into our communication style, how open-minded we are, how much we chat, and how much we listen with others or to others as well. Also, this would be something to do with coordinating your own efforts. Also, it feels to me that maybe you lose a little bit of an appetite towards your studies, or it could also indicate that it's time to actually balancing out your own ideas about spirituality, looking at how much you rely on spirituality and how much you rely on facts. Or this might be telling you to look at your goals. So are you more of a someone who is going to be going after your dreams? Because with Saturn in Pisces, we can crystallize our own dreams, or you just collecting all the information, all the data all over again, and then you are not doing much about it. Remember, this conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter took place in your 11th house back in 2020. So surely this would be talking about that you were meant to be looking at your long-term goals. You were meant to be looking at what you want to be doing in the next 20 years. So this would also indicate that it's time to actually reevaluate what you have achieved so far, what type of people you hang out with. You were meant to be kind of like eliminating some of your plans and goals back in 2020. You were meant to be thinking bigger. You were meant to be reflecting on your long-term goals and so forth. And this time around, it is telling you, learn what went wrong, learn what your goals are, be prepared, be prepared and remove the obstacles from your life so that you can go towards a better future. It's all about sometimes releasing the idea, an old idea, and maybe this is this square. If you pretty much held on to something, an idea, for example, for such a long time, then this is about releasing the idea because you might be seeing that things are not going according to plan. And therefore, you are somehow forced to restart. This is telling you to, in a way, build a tribe around yourself. Maybe listen to your friends as well. Maybe look at what they are promising to you, and so forth. Sometimes a challenge for you with this constellation is that you get a little bit confused about having loads of ideas and then not knowing which one to go with. So this is where Saturn is going to come into the picture and tries to kind of like give you clarity. Also, maybe Jupiter can give you loads of new ideas, which direction to go, but you might need to be blocking out some of your fears with that Saturn in the 12th house. Easily, you can even get obsessed with certain ideas as well. So therefore, Saturn is prompting you to do a reality check. Further manifestations or possible manifestations. With Saturn in the 12th house, often we feel down. We would like to rest, but at the same time, we might be having so much responsibilities that we cannot. But Saturn wants us to work hard, but the 12th house is the house of rest. And maybe that Jupiter is telling you that it's time to speak up about it. Maybe you are thinking to retire. Maybe you are thinking to open a spiritual business. Maybe you are thinking to put someone into a hospice. The third house is connected to health matters of a parent. So it's very possible that in the next 1 year, one of your parents is going to be visiting hospitals a little bit more often than before. Maybe it's time to talk about your own fears. Maybe the neighbors or the siblings are doing something behind your back. So they are smiling in your face and unfortunately backstabbing you at the same time. So this is also a possible manifestation of that. But some of the positive ones, with Jupiter in the third, you can build a community. So you can build a spiritual community, a healing group, learning groups as well. Jupiter in the third wants you to gain knowledge. And maybe with that Saturn in the 12th house, we do that, but we do that in kind of secret. We do not want to let others know that, for example, you are studying something because you're preparing to change job so that you can create a better future for yourself. What could be the challenge here is the tension that Jupiter wants you to socialize a lot more, to connect with people, but while Saturn is actually holding you down a little bit, and it wants you to focus on solitude and to examine yourself in a way from inside out. So that could feel like you're getting torn apart. So this could definitely talk to you about certain type of secret plans, and maybe you are not ready to share that with the world yet. Because remember, it has all originated from 11th house matters. Let's move on to Taurus rising sign. The Taurus, this is going to be happening for you in the financial sector of your chart, actually. First of all, Jupiter is trying to increase your finances, but maybe with that Saturn in the 11th house, we are not receiving the desired pay rise that we want to. So there is this conflict in energy happening between how much money we would like to earn. It's a desire for financial growth, but maybe Saturn is telling you that, you know what, maybe you need to be looking at how you manage your money. Maybe you need to be looking at what your talents are. Maybe you need to learn a little bit more about your own talents as well. Maybe it's time to reassess your own financial strategies. Maybe this is telling you to be a little bit more practical with your own finances, meaning how much money I spend, how much money I earn. So having a little bit of a balance sheet here. I would also say that the conjunction originally took place for you in the 10th house, which is the house of career back in 2020. So that was pretty much about planting the seeds. So this could indicate that you had that desire, for example, to change job, to go for something new, to think about what you want to be doing in the next 20 years, but you might have got stuck in your comfort zone. And maybe this is telling you that do you now have got certain type of reasons to stay at this particular job, or are you still coming up with certain type of excuses? You know, the comfort zone could be quite a big topic here with Jupiter going through your second house. Maybe you just need to be looking at the opportunities for yourself. And sometimes a restart or kind of like starting fresh is it's an uncomfortable situation. But with this Saturn, it tells you that if you work hard, you are going to receive rewards. Also, you might want to be collaborating with certain type of friends as well. But in that situation, I would say that you need to be looking at how much effort they put into that business opportunity, for example. How much money do they want to actually put into that business idea? And maybe that Saturn in the 11th also wants you to look at whether you should be doing this because often with Saturn in the 11th, we need to cut certain people out of our life as well. So look at whether you are networking with the right people. How do how do these people influence your personal resources? Because imagine that, with Pisces can represent the drinking bodies, the drug bodies, the people who love dancing and so forth, going to karaoke's and so forth. Now, are these people somehow, dragging your attention away from your actual growth or goals? Because Jupiter wants you to boost your confidence level, surely. But at the same time, it wants to boost your finances as well. So this could give you great business opportunities, actually, but you're going to have to work hard towards your business goals. Maybe in 2020, you started thinking about having your own business and you didn't find the time, the right one. Obviously, we had COVID and all this type of stuff. So many people kind of walked away from their business idea. So this time around, with this Jupiter and Saturn square, you might be asked to review your ideas. Maybe if you already have got an existing business, Jupiter in Gemini wants you to revise your marketing strategy or how you advertise your business, how you sell yourself to others. Now, the other thing that might be a bit of a danger here with Jupiter in the second that you overspend, you overstretch your finances, or you expect to earn more from a business, but in a way you have to be realistic about it because this is Saturn. Of course, what can happen is with Jupiter being a little slightly bit stronger than Saturn this year, that you can have your lucky days. But it doesn't mean that the luck is always going to be on your side. And that's exactly what Saturn says. So for me, it's a little bit of a renewal and having plans and having basically kind of like a strategy. What happens when I'm not earning as much money anymore as I used to? Have a plan for it. Let's go on to Gemini rising sign. So Gemini, of course, this is going to be quite important for you because it is Jupiter is moving through your own sign. And Saturn might highlight certain type of challenges related to how to express yourself, who I am. What can I talk about when it comes to being me? Can I say the truth or I need to be cutting corners and so forth? And also, it could indicate a little bit of a struggle when it comes to, certain type of ideas, whether I can be talking about, let's say, my business ideas, because Saturn is going through your 10th house. It's also very possible at the same time that, of course, you have got all these great ideas, but it's very difficult for you to stay real. That's where Saturn comes into the picture. Maybe Saturn is the planet of fear here, which tells you that who opening a new business, for example, during uncertainty, I need to be actually thinking about this. I would say that it's also important to look at whether you limit yourself, your life, or even your future in certain ways. Are you scared to be authentically yourself? Often with Gemini, we need to make a choice. Often Gemini in the first house is kind of like two-faced. It doesn't mean that I'm not in a negative way, okay? This is more to do with showing one thing because we are scared to show the other side of us. I also feel like that this might, because Saturn is in the 10th though, but it does bring in the fourth as well, which is the past. So maybe with Jupiter in Gemini, you need to learn about the past, knowing that everything roots from somewhere, and this is getting triggered for you. Also, remember that Jupiter in the first house is very optimistic. Sometimes it feels like things should be, handed over to me on a silver plate. But then Saturn says, no, I'm not going to give it to you that easily. You need to be able to work hard for it. With Jupiter in the first, we want plenty of opportunities, especially related to our career. But the boss might be coming around and tells you that, no, it's impossible. So imagine a situation that you work from home and an authority figure, Saturn, says, no, I need you in the office. But in a positive way, this is also giving you business opportunities. You can get really excited about it. But at the same time, this is also telling you that the success might not be coming as quickly as you want it to. It's very possible that you don't enjoy your work anymore. And then you think that, what, I can find workplace at any moment when I want to. Don't take that for granted with Saturn. Or at least it tells you that the grass might look greener on the other side, but it is actually not. This square can give you loads of drive to achieve heights in your career, to establish a name for yourself as well. So roll up those sleeves because this could be a success combo for you as well. It might not be happening immediately, as I said, but the results might be coming to you, especially next year when Jupiter moves into its exalted sign. Cancer rising sign. So this is going to be important for you because especially next year, once Jupiter is going to be moving into your first house. But in this video, I'm focusing on Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in the sign of Pisces. So with Jupiter, that is currently really much triggering for you your 12th house, and Saturn is triggering your ninth house. What it could indicate is that you have got certain type of subconscious influences that needs to be worked through. So even though the challenge here for you is that Jupiter is very much social in the sign of Gemini, but it is falling into your 12th house. And sometimes what we might need to be looking at is our belief system. It could be your spiritual belief system. You might be experiencing certain type of conflicts about what the world wants you and what your inner desires are. And maybe it's difficult for you to bring them together. So definitely this period of time for you is about reflection, reflecting on your desires, reflecting on your needs, reflecting on your emotional needs as well at the same time. But Saturn will want you to remain practical. It's all about, I have dreams. The ninth and the 12th house are really much connected to dreams. But or at the same time, it is telling you to have those real dreams. It is no time now to be swinging between too many ideas because you can easily get confused with them. Of course, for example, imagine that you have got this craving to be somewhere else, to relocate, and so forth. But Saturn might be telling you that there are certain type of things that you might need to be working through before you make that leap, you make that giant leap, because maybe you want to be relocating, let's say, because you want to find love for yourself, or you want to experience happiness in your life. But this constellation would be telling you that happiness will come to you once you are able to learn something about your past, learning from your own mistakes as well, and maybe learning about your karmic existence. Also, this could indicate that maybe you want to go back to school. With Saturn in the ninth house, it might be about taking your studies to the next level to become kind of like a spiritual master. Also, you might want to be looking at what you believe to be true. How does that fit in a way my moral codes? What is my place in the world? And this is important because with Jupiter, that is the exalted ruler of your rising sign, in the 12th house often can feel lost, kind of like a little bit giving up. Oh, I have no place in this world. I am meant to be doing certain type of things, but Jupiter tells you that the horizon, if you expand your horizon and you explore a little bit more, you will realize your own power as well at the same time. Jupiter gives you this type of spiritual protection from the hard world. And Saturn is very much in an external part of your chart. The ninth house is, let's call it as one of the houses that is connected to kind of like other people, the world in a way. And with Saturn in the ninth, it could indicate that we find the world too harsh. Maybe this is the reason why we want to relocate, because we want to be surrounded by nicer people. And then when we run into these kind of like cruelty or, this limiting society in a way, then we might want to go back to our cocoon. And that's when we start doing certain type of spiritual explorations. This combo, for example, could talk to you about publishing something, publishing your spiritual practice, becoming a spiritual teacher, for example, sharing your own belief systems with others. Yes, you can study spirituality. You can study any type of topics that is in interest to you. The main idea here is to become a master of that. Don't just stop at studying something, but become, a teacher with it. It unfortunately could bring certain type of health issues to a parent as well. I'm just going to mention that on the side note. Um, and at the same time, maybe also that come to my mind with Saturn, which is the planet of aging. You might feel like that you are too old to study. And if you have got that type of belief system, ninth house, I feel like this is telling you with Jupiter that age is just a number. And if you really put your mind to something, you can be 80 years old and you can still do it. So for me, this aspect is a little bit about commitments for you towards achieving your own dreams. So what were your dreams in 2020? And have you achieved them? Maybe a little bit of a reflection on that. And if you haven't, so why so? You might want to be going back and looking at possibilities. Remember, later on, Jupiter will be moving into your first house, while Saturn is going to be moving into your 10th house. So it might feel like something to do with your career department. Leo rising sign. So this is going to be also very exciting for you as well. Well, with Jupiter, that is pretty much this time around forming this square for you in regards to your social network. So Jupiter is running through your 11th house, which is goals, aspirations, network, friends, and so forth. And then you have got Saturn running through your 8th house at the moment. So it could feel like, for example, certain type of obstacles, especially when it comes to money, that is holding you back of achieving some of your long-term goals. So maybe this is because you have lent money to a friend of yours, and then, they keep telling you that they don't have the money and they cannot give it back to you and so forth. But you see them at the same time living life to the fullest. But on for you, this is all about the transformation of your goals, the transformation of your ambitions. So there needs to be an element of reevaluation of your ambitions. What type of benefactors am I surrounded by? What type of support I receive from them? And it's not just financial, it is also an emotional support as well. Because maybe you have got all these type of dramatic people who surround you. Maybe you are too generous, which is such a Leo trait anyway. So this might be telling you that you need to stop being a little bit, you know, too generous, cutting back on that. So Jupiter in the 11th might want you to connect with new people, people who are very like-minded, very optimistic, and why Saturn in the 8th house often talks to you about certain type of fears. That, you know what, I'm not that great at socializing anymore. I'm too old to go out. So I'd rather stay at home and so forth. Then this transit is going to backlash at you. Also, it's worth mentioning that for you, Leo, these are pretty much triggering the financial houses. The 8th house is other people's money. The 11th house is money made from businesses and workplace. So you might feel, a desire to increase your finances, but you keep running into certain type of issues. So I'm going to give you some scenarios here. Maybe you have managed to increase your profits, and your profit and loss sheet is still not looking as great as you expected. Maybe because the rent is going up, the taxes are going up, and all those type of things. Or if you are planning to open a new business, then because Saturn and Jupiter cycles are often about business matters, by the way, then I would say that this is not a period of time when you need to be cutting corners. So make sure that you file your business taxes, you are on top of that because it can bite you in the backside. Also, maybe you want to receive a loan or to get a loan for certain type of business expansions. Even though I don't like, when a kind of like a difficult planet is going through the 8th house to get certain type of loans. But it's not impossible. It's just really being on top of it. However, Saturn would like you to be cautious about what type of documents you sign. So reading the small print, right? Because Jupiter in Gemini, we are too optimistic, but Gemini represents documents. Even if you partner up with a friend of yours, doesn't matter how much you know them, how well you know them, how good friend they are to you. It tells you that we should not be mixing friendship with business opportunities. The other end of the scale is that with Saturn in the 8th house, we might be very afraid of something. Maybe being afraid of losing friends, or being afraid that you have got plenty of friends, but you cannot really count on them. So do I call them as friends? I mean, it could indicate that you are going to be in a business partnership with a friend of yours, or maybe bring in finances together with a particular person. But with, the finance is a little bit limited here. It is not as easy as with Saturn as Jupiter might think that. Maybe some of the other topics that might be coming up is how much can I trust my friends? How much can I trust certain type of social media information, for example, what is scam out there and what's not. Let's move on to Virgo rising sign. So, Virgo, this is going to be also exciting for you as well because it's triggering your career department quite significantly. Something to do with your goals and your public image. But there could be certain type of tension when it comes to what I want to achieve, how quick I can get there, and how others are trying to hold me down or hold me back. So, for example, imagine that you have got certain type of business opportunities going on, and you are ready to sign certain type of documents, for example, but unfortunately, it is delayed, or it is somehow the conditions of that document or contractual agreement are not up to scratch, or it doesn't include what you hoped for, and so on. I mean, in worst case scenarios, this could bring you legal situations as well, because the 10th house often represents the judge, someone, an authority figure who is deciding. And with Jupiter, we are hopeful that we've got this clear case going on, for example. But then Saturn comes into the picture and says, not too sure. This could bring you situations where you're going to have to be a little bit more realistic about your own relationship as well. Typically, when the 7th house and the 10th house get activated, often it brings divorce or marriage opportunities. But surely Saturn would want us to crystallize our relationships, to go back to basics. You're going to have to look at what was going on in your life back in 2020. How was your marriage life? Were you single? Were you married? And so on, because that might be giving you the clue what to expect from this square. Surely, this is all about. For me, it could indicate that with Jupiter in the 10th, I want to take my relationship a next further. So I want to be seen in a way, as a powerful couple. I want to be seen as a well-functioning companion, but we tend to be running into certain type of challenges with Saturn there. It could also indicate that a business partner who unfortunately you're gonna have to say goodbye to. It could indicate that maybe a business is growing quite significantly, and the work demand is actually, it's very difficult to meet. The Jupiter and the Saturn combo might want you to look at your workforce, or it might want you to hire people who might be able to help you grow your business further. Definitely, it would indicate to me that somehow your status in the world is going to be changing. So, of course, it can present a lot of work opportunities for you. You can have this amazing idea of what type of business you want to be launching. But Saturn might want you to look at the client base. It might want you to ask actually people, would you be interested in such service and so forth? Because Saturn going through the 7th house could indicate lack of clients. So while Jupiter can give you all this desire and opportunities to grow a business, but something is saying no to us, or we feel slowed down. And maybe it's actually the relationship department that is holding you back. Maybe you have to be making a choice between work and relationship. So, for example, you don't feel that, let's say you have got this business idea that you have been dreaming about since 2020, but your husband or wife is telling you, I don't think it's a good idea. Don't go for it. You're gonna fail. We're gonna, you know, we're not gonna have money and all those type of things, and we have got the mortgage to pay. So somehow someone is switching certain type of fears up within yourself. So therefore, You feel this internal tension, and it could be actually affecting not only your mood, but your physical body as well, because Saturn potentially is opposing your rising sign. Or it could feel like that all these negative people that you are surrounded by are sucking the light out of you. It could feel like that, you know what, I don't have the strength anymore to fight for um, being recognized. I'm tired of talking. I would like to see more action, for example. And Virgo, this is a very critical sign. So, are you allowing others to criticize you, or are you too harsh on yourself? Maybe with the Jupiter, we just need to celebrate what we have achieved so far. And with that Saturn in the seventh, yes, maybe some of your connections needs to be, kind of not necessarily fixed, but to navigate them better, because Jupiter is definitely giving you the opportunity to be recognized by others. Imagine that you have been single and then Saturn is making you depressed. Jupiter would like you to be visible. Jupiter would like to give you the opportunity to be seen by a potential marriage partner. But if you are depressed, uh, having low self-esteem and somehow hiding away, no one is going to be knocking on your door. Let's move on to our next sign, and that's going to be Libra. Libra rising sign. So this is going to be affecting your higher education, travel plans, and your belief system as well. So we have got Jupiter going through your ninth house, while Saturn is going through your sixth house. So, of course, what Jupiter wants you to do is to explore the world. And then this is where the practical inhibitions or limitations could be coming into the picture. For example, imagine that you would like to see the world, you would like to travel a lot, and then unfortunately, you have got heavy work responsibilities, and that is somehow stopping you from traveling. Also, maybe it is about being afraid of moving to a foreign country. So, in that case, you might want to be somehow having a relook at your belief system. Saturn definitely in the sixth house wants you to have better plans. Maybe it indicates that you need to be fixing your career, for example. Maybe it is giving you actually the opportunity to work in foreign countries. Now, in some instances, this could be talking to you about traveling to a foreign country, for example, to have some type of procedure, medical procedure done on you. That's a possibility as well. Or secondly, it could even indicate that you are going to be working abroad. But this might be somehow affecting your uh, ability to express who you truly are. Maybe because it's language barrier, maybe because you have to be, you know, learning something. Often it actually indicates situations as well where you have got some type of work training to attend, and that's the reason why you need to be expanding your horizon, gain new knowledge, and so forth. Now, it also can indicate such situations that you are going to be getting a pet, for example, from a foreign country. Surely it could indicate that you might be very busy this year because you have to be traveling for work, and maybe you do not have the time to actually look after yourself. The sixth house is something to do with self-care, to implement certain type of routines, healthier choices, to make healthier choices. Maybe you need to be relooking at your own healthier choices as well, such as what food I eat, how much time I spend in the gym, and so forth. Maybe because, let's say, you spend too much time with working out, the desired outcome is actually not coming. Other topic that might be popping up for you is that it can feel like work has taken over your life. You have got too much responsibility going on. Work is stressing you out. And of course, it's not aligned really well with Jupiter, who just wants to see the world, wants to study, wants to explore different type of opportunities. So, of course, it can be taking a physical toll on your health as well, because work can feel like a burden, but potentially you want to be escaping from it. And Jupiter might be giving you the optimism that, you know what, there is better workplaces out there. Go and find one. Realign with a work that is a little bit closer to your goals as well. However, I might also like this position for you because when we are extremely committed with Saturn in the sixth house, then we can implement really great like routines into our life. So from a health point of view, maybe you start fitness, maybe you start working out, maybe you eat better. And Jupiter can make it exciting for you. Jupiter can give you all that variety. Like, I didn't even know that I can eat egg and meat and all this type of stuff. Oh, that's great because those are my favorite and I can still lose weight and so forth. So there is that element of open-mindedness when it comes to your health. And maybe Saturn in Pisces might want you to take your emotional well-being a little bit more serious as well. At the same time, it could be exactly the same situation, for example, for your work situation as well, from a routine point of view. So you might be enjoying your new workplace, for example, and you like the fact that there is kind of like a limit to it. So 9 to 5, and for example, I don't need to be doing overtime. However, the other side of the coin could be that you have been doing too much overtime, and this is the reason why it's taking some personal time away from yourself. So work can feel like that you are somehow prevented from enjoying life at the fullest. It can feel like that I cannot align with this work anymore. I don't have time to study because I have to be putting my life on hold because of certain type of responsibilities. Maybe it's household chores. Maybe it's having too many animals, for example, at your backyard and so forth. And then I'm pretty tired of getting up early and then feed the pigs and so forth. A friend of mine has this, and they have got 30 pigs, and she's extremely tired of that. So this is the reason why I kind of gave that example to you. Okay, let's move on to Scorpio rising sign. So this is pretty much triggering your eighth and the fifth house, which the eighth house is very much connected to your shared resources. Obviously, we have got here the Gemini, Jupiter, but also it brings in the topic of intimacy. So for me, Scorpio, this is about intimate relationship, for example. How are we going to take our relationship a notch further? Maybe you feel like that you guys have been chasing money for a long time and then the dating life is somehow struggling here. Maybe you feel like that your partner is not emotionally committed. Maybe actually you would like to get pregnant. But we always have got certain type of excuses, such as, oh, we need to grow the money first, and so forth. So on one hand, surely this is a invitation for you to have a different approach when it comes to your shared values, shared resources. This is definitely an invitation to somehow go through a transformation when it comes to the intimate department. If you are single, then it's surely about, why you put hold on your life? And why are you not looking at opportunities to reconnect? Is it because you have got trust issues towards others? And this is the reason why, you approach every single possible relationship with certain type of suspicion? Or is it because it feels like that money has become way too important? If you have got your own business, then it could also indicate that your business is going to be going through certain type of metamorphosis as well. So the renewal of business, this could unfortunately indicate that your business is going through certain type of crisis situations. Maybe also because Saturn is a parenting planet. And if you have children, It might indicate that your child is actually moving out, moving in, going through a emotional, personal crisis situation, and you have to support them. Maybe it's a moral support with Jupiter, and even it could be a financial support as well, of course, with Saturn being involved. Saturn is actually ruling your fourth house here. So, and Saturn and Jupiter are 4 signs away from each other. So the family topics are really popping up for many of you. At the same time, this also might be talking to you about getting pregnant. So becoming responsible for the life of others as well. This is highly a psychological combination as well at the same time. So this might be about removing certain type of traumatic experiences that you went through in your childhood, as well as, in a way, becoming a psychologist, a counselor. If that's your desire, then Jupiter is surely about the exploration of the human psyche. I'm also wondering if you might become very passionate about a certain type of project. Even it could be something on a level of obsession as well. Because obviously, with the fifth house, you give birth to something. But with Saturn, this is about giving shape and form to something as well. So this is making, in a way, a product available to others. And you might have got this idea of what product you want to be doing, just unfortunately, you don't have the cash for it. And therefore, you might be thinking about having to include a business partner or having to ask for a loan to make it happen. It is also telling me that maybe you want to do a bit of a deep research about what type of hobbies you have and whether you have got enough time for your hobbies. And also from the positive side of it, it actually could give you more income as well. Because the eighth house is money earned by others, kind of like, when you have got a client and that's the how that's the client's money. So the client is paying you for a certain type of business. So this could actually giving you, a better flow of income as well. And that might be making you think, okay, can I actually do this full time? Can I work from home and so forth? Or you have started this already and then you run into some type of blockages. Maybe the money is not coming as quickly as you expected, and now you are scratching your head. What am I going to be doing? So Saturn surely will want you to work hard, while Jupiter wants you to maybe add addition, something else to this project. And because Gemini is a dual sign, and often with Gemini, they need to be mentally stimulated. Often, it's kind of like daytime I'm an astrologer, nighttime I'm a bus driver type of aspect. So maybe we need to take on a second project, a second type of work that is completely different to what you are doing now to get that extra cash in. Sagittarius, rising sign. Obviously, it's going to be very exciting for you because Jupiter, the ruler of your rising sign, is actually participating in this combination. And this is going to be affecting your relationships and partnerships quite significantly. Now, Jupiter is going through your seventh house while we have got Saturn in the fourth house. So the challenges that you might run into is basically being able to put the roots down with a potential partner. Or maybe it feels like that, I have been living together with this person, but we haven't taken the relationship a notch further. Or this could be giving you an opportunity if you are single to get to know someone, to live together with this person, but you might be like, I'm too old to live together with someone else. Somehow, this is an invitation to reassess your partnerships, whether this is something that you can imagine in the long run. Potentially, this could, so as I said, it could talk to you about moving together with a partner, moving away from the partner as well. Or maybe you guys don't see eye to eye whether we should live here, we should sell the apartment, we should keep the apartment, we should build a house or buy a house. These topics also might be coming up for you. Potentially, this could indicate that one of you, so either you or your romantic partner, might be experiencing some family issues as well. A loss of a family member, some type of crisis situations within the family, which is, of course, affecting somehow your relationship. Other way how I can imagine this, right, that with Saturn we might be spending too much time at home. And then Jupiter now would like to engage with others. So surely there is the need here to bring certain type of excitement into your relationship. So why are we locked up? And this started for you in 2020 in your third house. So we were meant to be learning quite a lot about socialization already. And then if we haven't been able to do so, then this could be bringing challenges into your romantic life. So I feel like maybe you're gonna have to be going outside a little bit more. Other topics that might be coming up for you is to kind of make sense of where I'm coming from. Maybe you start thinking about, am I in the dream home? Do I have the dream family I have always wanted? A little bit like wanting to have this princess story in a way. And maybe you start questioning whether it is there for you or not. But definitely Saturn wants you to become more responsible in your own home environment. So, for example, imagine that you guys deciding to have a baby, for example. It means that you're gonna have to be a part of it. You're gonna have to spend a lot more time at home, and maybe you are scared of that. Yes, this could definitely talk to you about purchasing and selling a home, as I said, or taking the relationship to the next level by getting married, even moving together or having a child too. But in a negative way, it also could feel like that being or living together with someone has become a burden for me. And I don't want to be asked where I'm going, why I'm going to the swimming pool, and all those type of things. So you feel like that maybe someone is kind of interfering in your personal um, sphere. In very, very worst case scenarios, unfortunately, this could talk to you about the death of a parent as well. I need to mention that because the seventh house is the sunset and the fourth house is the end of matters. So often it indicates someone who might be departing from our life as well. Um, I also would like to mention that Jupiter is opposing your rising sign. So whatever is going down in your life, whether it's relationship or somehow, like properties are stressing you out and so forth, is affecting your physical body. So it could feel like that you have got too many things going on with Jupiter in the seventh, and it's weighing me down. And obviously, Saturn is squaring you as well at the same time. So probably there is the need here to kind of, in a way, share responsibility with someone who is going to take some burden off of your shoulders. Let's move on to Capricorn rising sign. So this is really much triggering your sixth and third house. So the sixth house is connected to your daily routines, health, and your work environment. So you might be having all these opportunities, for example, to be at a better workplace. Maybe you study a new job, you study into like you need to be picking up certain type of new knowledge, for example, when it comes to your work, but you run into certain type of obstacles, and the obstacles could be like communicational obstacles. Maybe I don't find kind of like a fine tune with the co-workers. I feel like I cannot talk to them. I feel like, they have got too much to say and that they are not pulling their ways and that they are not working and so forth. And all these are somehow affecting your well-being. Maybe what happens is that you feel like the people around you are not taking responsibility for their own actions, or yeah, they are not taking responsibility for their own actions. So on one hand, surely this would like you to look at whether you are productive enough, you delegate or you follow up on people's work. What is your role within that work environment? Or just look at the level of productivity from your side as well as their side as well. Of course, this is about self-care too. So maybe you are thinking about maybe traveling somewhere on a retreat. Maybe it's a fitness camp. Maybe it's something to do with just learning about how to live a healthier lifestyle. And then you're going to start gathering information. But in that sense, this is telling you that try to cut the BS out of all the information what you might find on Google, because it could bring you certain type of confusion as well at the same time. Also, this might be an invitation for you to live that healthier lifestyle by walking, not sitting in the car, for example, as much, or buying a bicycle and so forth. Something that keeps you a little bit more on the fit side. Also, maybe it feels like that you are at a workplace where you have to commute a lot. Like, it comes with loads of travels or loads of driving and so forth. And it might feel like that it's too much for you. Or maybe it also can indicate that because the sixth house is the like mechanics, engineering, and so forth, and the third house is your car. So, do I need to buy a new car? Do I need to use public transport? Maybe I got tired of using public transport and then I want to be investing into a car. But also ask yourself the question, what do I do on a daily basis? Is it repetitive, or do I need to bring in certain type of excitement, or do I need to ground myself a little bit more, and not being all over the place, which is not necessarily a Capricorn trait anyway. Maybe what you find challenging is to manage people around you. You might not be able to find the words of how they should be more productive. Maybe you are asked to be a little bit more kind of like authoritative, being a little bit more strict with people. But obviously, it might be difficult for Jupiter, who is actually has got their own ways of dealing with people. And usually that's on a little bit more on the nicer side, approaching them like a real human being. Simply, this could indicate that you have got a very busy time at work coming for you, and it gives you a lot of opportunities as well, of course. But you might feel that you haven't grown up to the role yet, or maybe you are tired of talking to people. Maybe actually they are not talking to you, so therefore you don't feel supported by them. Aquarius rising sign. So you have got some exciting constellation going on, because obviously Saturn is the ruler of your rising sign. So you will be impacted quite significantly. It will be affecting your romantic life as well as your creativity, or it might be something to do with children. So this could indicate that you're running into certain type of challenges when it comes to kind of like giving birth to a creative project. So maybe the practical matters involve somehow finances. Maybe you are at the finish line of finishing up a project, for example, but you run out of money, and it feels like it takes forever to complete something. So also this might be about looking at your creative goals a little bit more, or even looking at whether um whether, for example, like belief systems that could be coming up here as, oh, do I want to have a child, or is it worth finishing this creative project? Maybe I have put so much effort into something and then it hasn't been paying off. So I just kind of want to give up on this and so on. And this transit would talk to you about the need to be a little bit more optimistic, maybe finding a better audience somehow, because the fifth house is also connected to your audience. And also, definitely, these houses are so connected to your talents. I feel like this is telling you to have a look at your own talent, your own personalities, because we all possess something. And maybe your creative talent is connected with the ability to connect with others, to kind of like being on a central stage. It might be bringing up certain type of stage fright for you as well, and that's something that you might need to be able to work through. And if that's the case, I would say that don't be afraid, because you might see that you are going to be appreciated by others. Additional topic. It can feel like that whatever I do is just not making me money. Or it could give you the idea that, you know what, I don't know if I want to become a parent because children cost a lot of money. Or it can feel like that I have been chasing money all the time, but actually I would like to have fun too. Or the other way around, that it feels like that I cannot have fun because I don't have the money for it. So somehow you have to find a balance here. Maybe this is telling you to connect with hobbies that does not require as much money. Obviously, if you are a little bit more on the, short of money side of things. But at the same time, this is also telling you that sometimes you deserve to spend a little bit on yourself as well, because it's going to be boosting your confidence. The succeeding houses are very much about confidence level. So I feel like for Aquarius, it's going to be definitely on one hand reassessing your confidence level. Am I brave enough? Do I want to be taking a chance of myself? You would like probably take a chance on yourself, but again, you have got these financial considerations going on, and maybe you are scared. Oh, I'm not going to jump into this business opportunity because I have to feed a member, four people at home and so forth. Or it's also very possible that you have been very generous with others and partying and paying for, other people's drinks and so forth. And then Saturn wants you to slow down with that. It tells you to be a little bit more responsible when it comes to your money, because Jupiter wants to spend it all on fun. And Saturn comes around, no, we cannot do that. So again, find a balance here. And some of you, obviously, definitely the positive news is that you can welcome a baby into your life, but maybe you haven't anticipated certain type of costs that might be coming with it. So, and the last sign for today is Pisces rising sign. And I'm so sorry, Pisces, that you always come the last, but, better than never, right? So, Pisces rising sign, this is going to be very much connected to your first and the fourth house. And the fourth house is connected to your home environment, something to do with family and emotional foundations. So, what I can imagine for Pisces rising sign is that you would like to be having a lot more experience, something that is making you feel happy. But at the same time, you have got these practical limitations that are coming about. Let's say you bought a house and you have got these practical limitations coming into the picture. Such as, okay, I have got two houses now, and one is just standing there and I'm not doing anything with it. Also, this could indicate that you would like to relocate. You would like to be living in two countries, but maybe you or your partner somehow cannot afford it or cannot do that. Maybe you feel a little bit boxed in somehow in a particular country that you live in, and you would like to have a lot more adventure, but maybe you are in love as well at the same time, and that's why you are unable to relocate, for example. At the same time, on a psychological level, this could really, Jupiter can give you the opportunity to reconnect with family members. But Saturn in the first might not be able to be as forgiving. It might be remembering the past. Somehow, maybe you are a little bit more on the narrow-minded side in regards to those family members to reconnect with them. Maybe you do not see the point doing so. This is definitely telling you that it's time to reassess your domestic life. And can you, for example, imagine yourself in a long run at the particular place, or you feel restricted? Do you feel like you can put the roots down? I mean, Saturn does rule your long-term goals as well. So, and for example, you imagine that you have moved to a different country with Jupiter in the fourth, but it's Gemini. Often it might be bringing in certain type of language barriers or even cultural differences. And it can feel like that somehow the cultural differences are not fitting your it's not fitting. Now, the fact that Saturn is going through your first house, it's affecting your relationship department as well at the same time. So imagine that you have got this itchy bum to travel around, but your partner cannot do that with you. Maybe it's because of lack of money. Maybe it's visa issues, actually. Maybe they are not just up for so much adventure. And and then with Saturn, you are going to be reassessing whether this is really me. Do I want to be boxed in? And Saturn doesn't mind that, but Jupiter has got certain type of issues with it. What else can it mean for you? So Jupiter might be expanding the number of properties you have, or maybe it welcomes a new member into your family as well. But it can feel like that, but it's restricting my freedom somehow. It can feel like that I cannot be who I want to be. So let's say you have got a number of properties, but you might be running into certain type of problems with those properties. However, this could talk to you about selling a property, buying a property. Definitely, you have got loads of opportunities here in a way to increase your fixed assets. The other thing that might be coming into my mind is some of you might be thinking about going back to their country of origin. And there is definitely the feeling here that I don't belong there, but at the same time, it's good for me to be there. And maybe it's because of certain type of family matters. So you want to be looking after your parents, you want to give them support and so forth, even though I don't feel the urge to be there, but I want to be there for them as well. So there is somehow reconnection here with certain type of family members. So, guys, this is a short breakdown for the 12 signs, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.